One of the greatest absences felt in the industry today is that of Aaliyah Haughton. When her voice came on the radio, it was instantly recognizable. She had smooth vocals, well beyond her years. In her relatively short career, she released 3 albums and 2 feature films. She was really just getting started when her life was tragically cut short. Aaliyah was set to star in the epic movie series The Matrix, playing the role of Z, and set to join Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishbourne and Jada Pinkett Smith on the big screen. Aaliyah received 2 MTV Video Music Awards for her hit Try Again, and a Grammy nomination. She also won a number of posthumous accolades. Aaliyah was born in Brooklyn and would later spend her latter years living in New York City. She was born Aaliyah Dana Haughton. When she was around 4, her family moved to Detroit, Michigan. Detroit is known for being a big city with a small town feel and a sense of community. It is also the home of Motown Records. Berry Gordy set up his offices there by renovating a 2-story house on 2648 West Grand Boulevard. At the entrance is the company's slogan, Hitsville, USA. From those headquarters, Motown Records lived up to that name and produced some of the greatest music of all time, hits that are still celebrated today. Stevie Wonder, The Supremes, and Marvin Gaye are just some of the stars to come out of Motown, and Aaliyah's aunt, Gladys Knight, started her career there. These are the influences Aaliyah grew up with. In the 60s, Detroit became the music capital of soul music as well as other popular genres. People would flock there to pursue their dreams, whether as songwriters, musicians, solo artists, or groups. Everyone wanted to work with Berry Gordy or audition for him. Motown shaped the framework of popular music in the 60s and 70s, and that influence is still present today. Many Motown classics have been sampled from iconic groups such as TLC and Destiny's Child. Many contemporary artists grew up on Motown and no doubt were inspired by their artistry. It is almost impossible to find an artist who wasn't inspired by Michael Jackson. He started off on Motown alongside his brothers. Aretha Franklin, Kid Rock, Madonna, and Eminem are from Detroit. The city birthed a plethora of artists from many different genres, from soul music to rock. Aaliyah would go on to use Motown influences in her own music and pay homage to her Detroit roots in her songs. Her first song to reach number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 was Try Again. This song included influences from Detroit techno and acid house music. It became one of her most celebrated songs. Another one of her most iconic hits, At Your Best, was a cover of an Isley Brothers track, another legendary Motown act. Motown was well aware of its impact on African American culture and its strong representation of that culture to the rest of the world. They even had an artist finishing school where artists learned to carry themselves with grace and dignity while dealing with the media, music executives, and other artists. Aaliyah is an Arabic name, meaning the highest, the best, the most exalted. Speaking of her name, she said, "I try every day to live up to it. It's a beautiful name. I'm very proud of it." Aaliyah was an animal lover too, and she grew up with lots of pets. She told FHM magazine, "When I was growing up, we had every sort of pet imaginable, from dogs, ducks and cats, to snakes and iguanas. My cousin actually had a baby alligator, but that was something I wasn't going to stroke." Aaliyah's family were very much a musical family. She grew up with her mother, her father and her brother Rashad. There was always music playing in the house. Aaliyah may have inherited her voice from her mother Diane, who family members say had a beautiful singing voice. Aaliyah and her mum would sing together around the house. Aaliyah attended the Jesuit Elementary School on the northwest side of Detroit. She told New York Newsday, "I was a pretty popular kid, but I think I was like all kids and went through that awkward stage. I made friends and lost friends growing up. Her first starring role was for a 1985 production of Annie, her first grade school play. This was believed to have sparked her love for singing and dancing. This was not a typical school play. The school was known for putting on elaborate productions. Rehearsals for the play took up to 3 hours a day, 4 days a week after school. This was on top of the regular school day, schoolwork and homework. So from a very young age, Aaliyah began to learn to juggle the pursuit of the arts with her academic responsibilities. Although she didn't get the part of Annie, she played one of the orphans and only had one line. But Aaliyah took that part very seriously, and it was enough to cause a spark in her. "I had one measly line, but I made that one line shine," she said. Aaliyah started to win bigger roles over time. Her 5th grade teacher said, "Aaliyah was very easy to direct, a very positive, hard-working and disciplined child. And we auditioned literally hundreds of kids. She was able to understand the characters and bring those characters to life." Aaliyah said she was very shy in school, but doing plays and taking part in the performing arts helped to bring her out of her shell. She always seemed to love acting just as much as she loved singing and dancing. Her parents were very supportive of her aspirations. They took her to vocal lessons and dance classes. They soon became instrumental in managing her career. Her parents' involvement was deeply valued by Aaliyah. "A strong belief in God and a strong family base are important," she said. Aaliyah's brand became a family business. Her brother Rashad became part of her creative team. "He's always been there for me, so I started introducing him to people as my creative consultant. Eventually, the title just stuck. We discuss everything together, from video concepts to stage wear, and we've even started to write songs together." Aaliyah began to make a name for herself in the Detroit area, entering into local talent shows, even performing at weddings. People marvelled at this extremely young and shy girl belting out soul classics that were way before her time. She loved performing Stevie Wonder and Whitney Houston songs. Aaliyah's vocal coach, who worked with her from the age of 10, said, "As a 10-year-old, she knew exactly what she wanted to do. She knew she wanted to be an entertainer. She had some experience. She and her parents wanted her voice to be developed, and they wanted her style to develop, so that when she sang, she wouldn't seem like a copycat. What you'd hear would be all Aaliyah." Aaliyah was a soprano, but also had a deep tone to her voice. Writer Dimitri Elrich of Entertainment Weekly said, "Aaliyah's silky vocals are more agile than those of self-proclaimed Queen of Hip-Hop Soul, Mary J. Blige." Vibe magazine music critic Dream Hampton wrote, "Aaliyah's deliciously feline voice has the same pop appeal as Janet Jackson." Back then and even now, there was too much of a desire to compare artists to each other and put them in a box. People would love to say, a new artist is the next so-and-so. Aaliyah's voice was distinctive and not comparable to the female artists mentioned. So I think her goal was achieved. She was her own person and in her own category, which is why her absence is felt even decades after her death. Aaliyah herself described her vocals as street but sweet. Her gentle vocals were often featured over a hard beat, so this summed it up perfectly. Had she lived, no doubt, fans would have seen her singing style develop and evolve. In 1989, Aaliyah made her first ever TV appearance at the age of 10. Star Search was a huge deal. It was the same as an aspiring comedian getting a shot at its showtime at the Apollo. It was the only talent show on TV at the time. Aaliyah showcased her mature vocals and star presence. She didn't win, but certainly left an impression, and would later go on to become one of the show's most successful contestants. Such a loss would be a huge blow for anyone, especially a 10-year-old. But the loss didn't stop her. Aaliyah also had the opportunity to tour with her aunt, Gladys Knight, when she was just 11. She remained humble and down to earth, despite breaking more ground within the industry. This is why she became so successful and a much loved artist. In middle school and high school, Aaliyah was well on her way to achieving her dreams, but she still had to maintain her grades. Her parents would not have had it any other way. Plus, she was very smart and enjoyed learning. Aaliyah was teased in middle school. Despite this, she learned to accept the things that made her different. Her differences made her who she was and helped her go on to achieve success. In high school though, Aaliyah became popular, especially as she became a singing sensation while still going to school. We often hear of the pitfalls of being a child star, one being that they don't have the typical childhood experiences of their peers. While other kids were interested in who they had a crush on, going to the mall or going to the prom, Aaliyah was rehearsing, going to the studio and on the road a lot. She said, "You always have to deal with people who are jealous, but there were so few it didn't even matter. The majority of kids supported me, which was wonderful. When it comes to dealing with negative people, I just let it in one ear and out the other. Those people are invisible to me." Aaliyah's uncle, Barry Hankerson, who was the ex-husband of her aunt, Gladys Knight, signed her to his record label, Black Ground Records, when she was just 12 years old. So, she was in the industry from a very young age. In 1991, Hankerson introduced Aaliyah to Robert Kelly, which he would later go on to regret for obvious reasons. He wrote and produced her album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. Her music was distributed through Jive Records, and her debut was released in 1994, going double platinum. It received rave reviews, and it featured hits such as Back and Forth and At Your Best. A Star Was Born. Sadly, in 2021, this is the only album available for streaming. Keep watching for more on this. Aaliyah impressed everybody by graduating with a 4.0 GPA. She always stressed the importance of education and encouraged her young fans to never take education for granted. After cutting ties with Jive, Aaliyah went on to release her second album. It would probably go on to become her most iconic album. One in a Million sold 3 million in the US and 8 million worldwide. After the release of her highly successful second album, she began her acting career after receiving many offers. Her first role was in Romeo Must Die. The movie made $18.6 million in its opening week and reached number 2 at the box office. She also completed filming for the movie Queen of the Damned in 2001. In the same year, she released her third album, which was self-titled. On the 22nd of August 2001, filming for Rock the Boat began. Rock the Boat was the third single from Aaliyah's third studio album. The first 2 singles were We Need a Resolution and More Than a Woman. Aaliyah had to do some difficult underwater shots while filming in Miami.
Had a little bit of difficulty at first with the breath regulator. Just couldn't handle it. Had a few moments of panic with that. You have to really take the time out to teach your body how to breathe underwater. So we let go of that. So I ended up having to hold my breath and shoot the scenes. And it was difficult. It was 15 feet deep, so there was a lot of pressure. But it was worth it because we got some really pretty shots out of it. And now we're here in fun and sun in the Bahamas.
After they were done, Aaliyah's team, dancers and crew flew to the Bahamas on a beautiful, serene day. Aaliyah and her team were always having fun together and joking around. They worked hard and played hard. There was her hairstylist, Eric Foreman. He always made Aaliyah laugh and was the life of the party. Aaliyah's makeup artist, Christopher Maldonado, was there. He was actually filling in for her regular makeup artist, who was travelling around Europe with Macy Gray at the time. Christopher was fun, yet reserved. The three hung out together outside of work, going on fun outings. They regularly goofed around when not on the clock, having impromptu karaoke sessions and dance breaks. Aaliyah's bodyguard, Scott Garland, also accompanied her to the island. At 6'8" and 300 pounds, he was a gentle giant, very caring and an all-round nice guy. He was also the father of a 15-year-old, of whom he had custody, a devoted father He worked hard to provide for his son. He also had some acting credentials, appearing in Any Given Sunday and Holy Man. He had also worked with Madonna, Ricky Martin and Rosie O'Donnell. Then there was Gina Smith, who Aaliyah called personally to work in her press team, promoting her music and organising her radio interviews. The dynamics between everybody was great. From the dancers to the people behind the scenes, it was a fun and vibrant atmosphere. Hype Williams was commissioned to direct the video. The song uses carefully placed metaphors to describe sensual themes. It was the most sensual song released by Aaliyah in her relatively short career. The video takes place in a serene, breathtaking environment in the most colourful and peaceful of islands. The song was written by Aaliyah's longtime collaborator, Static Major, and produced by Rapture Stewart and Eric Seitz of Key Beats. Eric was initially unhappy with the beat from which the song was formed. He was even considering deleting it, but Static wanted to keep it. He really liked it. Eventually, Rock the Boat was created from the beat. The song began to receive significant radio airplay before it was even released as a single. For this reason, the label eventually decided to release it. Aaliyah was a huge fan of the song and fought to ensure that the song was released as a single. At the time, the record execs in charge of her album were prioritising tracks from Timbaland, as that was a tried and tested formula. So Rock the Boat went against the mould and was part of Aaliyah's evolution as an artist. It also symbolises her breakaway from her teen-friendly image that followed her at the start of her career, because she was so young when she came on the scene. The track went on to be an international hit. It was officially released January 15th, 2002. It was Aaliyah's third and final single from her third album. Shooting for the video went well, including those tricky underwater shots. Those who worked with Aaliyah said she was very approachable and interacted with everybody on set. She would sit with the dancers at lunch, rather than keep her distance, like many celebrities would naturally do, being the star of the show. Filming the video wrapped up early, so Hype told the crew they were free to leave. They initially had planned to stay another day, but Aaliyah was eager to get back. Since they had wrapped up filming, there was no reason for her to stick around. She had a punishing schedule leading up to the filming of the video. She hadn't had the opportunity to rest and hang out with her fiancé Damon Dash. They had been together in Miami, but he had to fly back to New York for a family commitment, so she was looking forward to being reunited with him. Damon Dash later revealed that Aaliyah was nervous about the small plane at the airport. He told her not to fly because he didn't like the plane either. But as far as Aaliyah was concerned, she had an obligation to fulfill, so she chose to fly out there to finish the video.
So I broke out to go back to New York. She told me she was going to the Bahamas, and I was against it, like, yo, don't go. And then down to the last, we had the Blackberries, down to the last Blackberry that we had, before she went there, she was like, I don't like that plane. And I was like, don't get on it. And she was just like, I got to do it. It was, it was a complicated situation, but she had to go do that video. So, if I was there, I would have made sure that that jet that was supposed to be for her, with the G4, she would have been on that. I wouldn't have got on that plane. You know what I'm saying? So it would probably have been different.
So with them finishing early, she probably wanted to use the bonus day to hang out with Damon and simply catch up on some rest before continuing her busy schedule. Aaliyah's friend and choreographer, Fatima Robinson, recalls a moment that day when everyone was on break. Aaliyah went to her cabin and fell asleep, squeezing in a quick nap. She was still wearing her clothes and makeup from the shoot. Fatima said she looked so beautiful, she couldn't resist taking a quick photo of the star sleeping peacefully. Sadly, it was one of the last photos taken of Aaliyah. So what happened the day of the fatal crash that would change things forever? On the 25th of August 2001, Aaliyah rose before sunrise to catch some beautiful shots with great lighting. Work on the video started at 10 a.m. Various scenes were completed, with many takes and reshoots to ensure they were perfect. Eric did lots of makeup touch-ups for Aaliyah, as the sun belted down on them throughout the day, but the cool sea breeze provided relief, and her hair swayed gently in the breeze. Aaliyah remained a professional no matter how grueling her schedule, one publicist said. Lots of people in the business are hard to work with. She's always professional. She's always, what do you need me to do? How can I help? She never takes a star trip. She's an angel. She's like an angel sent down to earth. Even after Aaliyah finished her shots, going for a quick nap wasn't typical. Instead, she would hang around and watch the other scenes and offer support in any way she could. We all worked together as a family, said Hype Williams. The last day, Saturday, was one of the best days I've had in this business. Everyone felt part of something special, part of her song. Aaliyah and her dancers boarded a boat to perform an on-deck routine. At 2 p.m, everyone broke for lunch. By 5 p.m, everything was complete. When they were leaving, people came to see the group off, including her dancers. One of her dancers recalls asking Aaliyah to take a photo with them because it would be the last time they were all together on the island. Aaliyah said, "Don't worry, we're going to see each other soon."
I had no idea that you danced in Aaliyah's Rock the Boat video. That's right. Now, as we know, that was the last video that Aaliyah did. And then, the plane had too much luggage in it or something, and it crashed. Were you supposed to be on that plane?
No, we were all scheduled to leave the next day, but she was ready to go home, so she decided to leave early. And so we had just really finished shooting. The sun was about to set, and Hype, the director, Hype Williams, basically said, you can leave because we're just going to get some kind of aerial views of the girls. And so she decided to head home early. And I'll never forget that last moment where they brought another boat because we were like in the middle of the ocean. Yeah. And they brought a boat to come meet her and to take her entourage away. And we were all like, hey, can we get a picture? We just want some pictures. And she was like, you guys, we're gonna do the Grammys, we're gonna do the American Music Awards. We have all these awards to do. We'll get the shot then. And we were all like, okay. And she got on the boat and that was the last time we saw her. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Gone way too soon.
Yeah.
Way too soon.
Real talented, too.
Very sweet girl.
What's your favorite memory?
One of the first rehearsals I remember, I've worked with a lot of different artists, and they tend to be on their phone or with their entourage, or they'll leave for, during the lunch break. And she immediately sat down with us and was like, so, what's your deal? Like, just cross-legged, and was very much like, what's going on with you? She just wanted to be one of the girls, and it was really sweet.
Oh.
Yeah.
And Fatima took a final photo of the group as they were leaving on the boat. The company producing the video offered to charter a private jet, but that would not have arrived until the following day. Due to the change in schedule, a regular, smaller plane had been commissioned to take them back to Miami. On August the 25th, 2001, at 6:50 p.m, Aaliyah boarded a twin-engine Cessna 402B, along with several other colleagues. Almost immediately upon takeoff from Marsh Harbour, the plane went down rapidly and crashed near the runway, bursting into flames immediately. Fatima had to make the devastating phone call to Aaliyah's mother to inform her of the tragedy.
It was just the hardest thing I had to do ever in life.
In 2003, an inquest revealed that the cause of death was severe burns and head trauma, from which the body would have gone into a severe state of shock, impossible to recover from. Reports said the plane was significantly overloaded and the pilot was reluctant to fly, but after complaints from the passengers, he relented. Aaliyah's family always maintained that there's no way she would have flown if she was told it was unsafe to fly. She was not a diva and would have been more concerned about safety than anything else. According to John Frank, Executive Director of the Cessna Pilots Association, the plane was overloaded by 700 pounds, and the weight was distributed in a way that no doubt contributed to the crash. What came out was that the pilot, Luis Morales, was reluctant to fly out of the Bahamas due to the excessive weight. He reportedly got into an argument with some of the video crew about the weight on the plane. They allegedly insisted that they had paid for a charter flight and wanted the whole crew to be flown down. They got to the Bahamas without incident, so he may have assumed the plane would have been fine to fly on the way back. Unfortunately, that miscalculation proved tragic. Clearly the airplane was above its certified gross weight, when it took off, by several £100s at least, said John Frank. Even more disturbing information came to light during the inquest. It was revealed that the pilot, Luis Morales, was put on probation for possession of drugs just 2 weeks before the crash. Traces of coke and alcohol were found in his system upon completion of an autopsy. He wasn't certified to fly. A huge service was held for Aaliyah. The procession made its way through the streets of Manhattan on August 31st, 2001. The coffin was placed in a horse-drawn carriage, as Aaliyah loved horses. It ended at the St. Ignatius La Jolla Roman Catholic Church. Then a private service was held for Aaliyah's family and friends. 22 doves were released after the ceremony, representing every year of Aaliyah's life. In May 2002, Aaliyah's parents filed a lawsuit against several companies, including Virgin Records and Black Hawk International Airport Corp, for liability in the crash. The cases were settled out of court. Aaliyah was on the island for work, and she and her crew ended up on the plane with a pilot who was under the influence and was not certified to fly. People wanted answers, no more so than Aaliyah's family. Fans couldn't believe such a tragedy was allowed to happen, especially to such a genuine and sweet girl like Aaliyah, and 8 others who also left behind loved ones. Hype Williams said, "She was a very happy person. She had nothing but love to give to others, and she selflessly shared much of who she was. I don't know if anyone really understands that about her. She had these incredible, graceful qualities as a person. I don't know if her fans know that about her." Aaliyah's net worth at the time of her death was reported to be $10 million. She was signed to not just 1, but 2 sequels to The Matrix. She was scheduled to start martial arts training, then fly down to Australia to begin filming. She was also scheduled to present the MTV Video Music Awards. She had so much to look forward to, and so many plans. It's one of the reasons why she was so eager to get back home. As of now, Aaliyah's music is not available for streaming, except for the first album. The ownership of her music is a complicated one, as her albums were released on different labels, and her uncle's label, Blackground Records, is now defunct. Although Aaliyah was signed to Blackground Records, her album Age Ain't Nothing But a Number was distributed through Jive Records. Jive holds the rights to that album, so that is available for streaming. One in a Million, however, was distributed by Atlantic, and the self-titled 2001 album by Virgin, which is now owned by Universal. Barry Hankerson is believed to hold the rights for the rest of the music, but he has not made it available for streaming. The reason isn't clear. These albums were briefly available on iTunes, however they were swiftly removed. Blackground Records, which at one point signed Toni Braxton, Timbaland, JoJo and Tank, has not released any music since 2013. The label has had a number of lawsuits against it over the years, so this may be the reason music has not been released for streaming. If you have Aaliyah's albums on CD and they are in good condition, you're one of the lucky ones. Listening to Aaliyah's albums on YouTube is the only option as of now. This greatly limits the earning potential of the estate and makes it harder for fans to source her music and listen to it offline and ad-free. Her legacy deserves to continue, so this is a huge hindrance to that goal. You can't listen to her music on a plane, while jogging, and on different apps. There is a huge barrier between fans, old and new, and Aaliyah's music. In 2019, a tweet was released from what looked like Barry Hankerson's Twitter account, saying that Aaliyah's music would finally be released on her birthday, January 16. That turned out to be a hoax. But last year, on the anniversary of her death, Aaliyah's family issued a statement saying, "To our loyal fans, we are excited to announce that communication has commenced between the estate and various record labels about the status of Aaliyah's music catalogue, as well as its availability on streaming platforms in the near future. Thank you for your continued love and support. More updates to come." No dates were given, and we don't even know if it will happen this year or at all. Hopefully, the issue will be resolved soon. What is your favourite Aaliyah song? Do you remember where you were and what you were doing when you found out about her death? Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts below, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to click the bell for more.